Update 37 introduced curveball sliders. We've got ours set to constant negative and the effects to be stronger than a Minecraft YouTuber's desire to show a miner his shaft. We start with a decision, an important decision. Who should lead these ragtag team of degenerates? It's between the sheriff, the builder, and the trader. This decision could make or break us. The wrong decision and everybody could die horribly. Perhaps it was starvation. Perhaps a siege site that was ignored to build to a deadly amount. Perhaps I could be stupid enough to blast a shotgun in Plague Zone and draw in a triple pack of blood ferals. And our new leader is Karina. We'll solve all the town's problems by demanding to speak to their manager. My plan is to head immediately back to where we just came from. Building materials is a must so we can maximise our base's potential. Although as you'll see shortly, Lethal Zone had many crafty ways to deter my mission. The infestations nearby are starting to disband due to the last plague art we destroyed, but this area is still very deadly. An awake plague art as well as wandering hordes that are, well, wandering about. Luckily I have a smoke bomb, but to make the most of it I want to save it for the final phase, so head in with a big old shovel. But unfortunately with no stamina items I've got to get going when a crackhead makes an appearance. I missed my first shot, exposing me for the gunslinger noob I am. Shit. Then after missing all 12 of my shots on my sidearm, blast him away with my shotgun. But when I start beating the heart once again, another feral decides I'm interfering on his turf. Luckily for Karina, the shotgun goes click clack boom. Then once I've evaded the hordes that are chasing that loud shotgun blast, I notice a bloater is making his way towards the play card. So with a bit of patience and a single molly, okay, technically 2 mollies as I missed the first, the ignited bloater cloud immediately removes the play card. So to allow the hordes to disperse, I run away up the road to search an unfinished house for building materials. I also collect the items I missed at the last play cart, so at least now I'm able to regain my stamina if we get in any more trouble. I find 2 sacks of building materials but can obviously only carry 1, so I've got to make multiple trips to the car that's still parked a ways down the road, and not wanting to waste a valuable stimulant on plain old regular Zeds, things get a bit hairy.
Yeah, man, I'm not using this stim on 4 regular pricks. Honestly, but those 4 regular pricks are turning into right assholes about it.
Amazingly, even with a collapsed lung, Karina gets shit done. That is until a wandering horde makes an appearance.
Oh, for crying out loud, where did you all come from?
At that point, I'm gonna need the stimulant to keep us going, so with our lung capacity growing back at an unfathomable rate, Karina goes Super Saiyan mode. Although that does leave our shovel in a less than desirable condition. I get another sack of materials from the unfinished house the play cart was located at. I then panic grab another load of stuff from the heart husk before horde catches me, and once everything's been stored in the car, I only have 1 more slot available for a rucksack, so I run back up the road to collect the second sack from earlier. Then it's time to head back to base to unload. It's a shame I don't have a bigger car, and as I'm driving past anyway, I decide to clear up a siege site. I then unload, finally craft a spare cure, which I will not be accidentally selling FYI, and also use infection therapy to remove my partial infection. And just like that, we're back on the road. Still slightly injured, but the plan remains the same: gather all the building materials. There was 1 more sack in the unfinished house where the plague art was located, but unfortunately also a screamer. With the undead now alerted to my presence, I've got to get moving, but first collect the rest of the stuff from the play card, and once I've blasted a second screamer with my shotgun, shit is about to get serious. You see, my loadout right now is very basic. I've got a cure and painkillers for a worst case scenario, and not even a full stack of shotgun ammo. I spot an energy drink lying on the ground, so I run to grab it, but have to avoid a feral in the process.
Right, ferals can climb up onto here. Oh my god, you taking the fucking piss?
On the second attempt I complete the climb, expecting the feral to follow me and we can have an epic battle. But I guess they can't climb up on these? So back on the ground I whip out the shotgun and get to blasting, but it turns out another feral might have heard that blast.
Oh my god, is there another one? You taking the piss, game? Honest to god, it's almost as if I'm being really loud on Lethal Zone or something.
I get him down to 1 shot, but the shotgun has run dry. So I run away while reloading, but only get 3 shells in before I've got to take the shot.
There we go. Right, we got a suppressor. But we don't use suppressors because we're not a massive pussy. Oh my god! You son of a bitch!
After missing the first shot, the last round gets a direct hit, but now I've got to reload again, which goes well.
Oh god! Get onto the container. Get onto the container. It's the only way. It's the only way.
I get to expected safety, but it's unfortunately not as safe as I first thought. But hey, at least I get a stimulant for my efforts.
Jesus Christ almighty! What the bloody hell is going on today? Oh my god! Nope! Take them, take them, take them.
Just in case you couldn't tell, that's a triple pack, my friends.
Yep. This is a problem. This is a problem. This is a problem.
Too far from any kind of safety, I put my 2 loaded rounds into the pack, then sprint like fuck to a nearby car.
Oh my god in hell. What the the absolute fuck is going on?
But from here I can at least take them out relatively safely, even if it takes the majority of my ammo due to a glitchy head. To celebrate that excellent survival, why not whack a like on the video? Now it's time to run away and do a very quick loot as I'm able to outrun the Zeds that are left, finding another 2 sacks of building materials in another unfinished house. But with no issues collecting either, I can once again return to base with 2 material sacks, a medical sack and a few other semi-important items. Then once everything has been dropped off, I start upgrading our command center so we can get a 3rd outpost slot. But there's still one more unfinished house back in the area we just left, and I'm not leaving anything for anyone else. Luckily this trip goes without issue. Nah, just kidding, it also goes horribly.
No! You bastard!
But hey, at least we didn't get any more ferals. We once again get another 2 sacks of building materials from the final unfinished house. So in total, this little trip has gained us 8 sacks of building materials. That's almost as many as we'll ever need, which is especially handy as there isn't exactly many more places to search for building mats in Providence Ridge. A few missing bolts. Talk about bad timing. This curveball spawned in immediately after I deposited the final 2 sacks of materials. Everything we craft will now be much more expensive and we'll be making a lot more noise while having a lower morale than normal. And in order to complete this curveball, I've got to deposit 3 sacks of materials. What the actual pissing fuck? So I accept a mission to deliver some fuel to these guys, as I need to keep them happy as they have a really good enclave benefit, and I've also traded building materials from them in the past, so let's hope they'll have some ready for me. Unfortunately, by the time I get there, they've decided to pack up and leave without warning.
Wait, what? They're gone! You are absolutely taking the bloody piss, you?
It's a good thing we didn't have Bangonomics active currently. That would have most likely pushed me over the edge. So with the sun rising, I head back to base as we have a visitor. She's from a special group of knobheads that have been experimenting on the undead, and she gives me a bottle of Zedi and promises to give me more if I help her find some chemicals. I agree to help her even though I've never used Zedi, and I'm certainly not planning on starting now. The real reason I agreed to help is so I had some cannon fodder to distract the hordes while I assault the plague cart. And I've got the perfect one in mind. This plague cart is in a shipping warehouse that most likely contains a sack of building materials. So once I take it down, I'll be a 1/3 of my way to getting our base back to operational standards. With our new friend doing a great job at distracting, we get the heart sorted, although it doesn't seem like she'll be joining us for the rest of our mission. And seeing as the hordes are currently a little overwhelming to say the least, I decide to move on to stage 2 of our plans. Just up the road, there's a small retail area that has a Dewey's hardware that'll most likely contain materials. But while I'm here, I might as well take down the plague cart. And I wish I could also say this heart goes down without a problem, but that would be a barefaced lie. While the heart's phasing, I can deal with the feral, then after a few more swings we can complete the second phase of the plague cart. Then armed with our last smoke bomb, get ready to take the easy kill.
No! You son of a
lovely individual who is probably devastated you're a zombie. Then with smoke active, I go back to battering, although not very successfully it seems. We get the job done just as the smoke fades, and I don't even get blood plague in the process. I then make a quick dash to the hardware store and unbelievably find another double sack of materials. Now I just need to store them both in the back of the car and we can make our escape. The first gets deposited nice and easily, but grabbing the second was a bit more troublesome.
Honest to God, I just want to grab my... No! You bastard!
Alright, but calm down, is it? It's only the zombie virus that ended society as we know it. You made a cure from rotten zombie flesh and paracetamol, for fuck's sake. I make a mistake of looting the plague cart, which means I've got no more room for the other sack of materials, so I end up on a destroyed bus across the road shooting at screamers.
Oh, great!
After putting some space between us, I managed to stun it with my gunfire and eliminate the threat. But how am I supposed to eliminate this entire horde with the resources I currently have? Well, it may be the 23-degree Welsh summer, but I might have completely lost my mind.
Yeah, we are taking a serious beating, love. That's kind of how this fucking shit goes.
And you certainly can't say the tactic wasn't successful. So I use up one of the 2 toolkits we have on us to free up a slot, collect the building sack, then the 3rd from the previous destination, before heading back to base to finally get rid of this bloody curveball. With that sorted and a shit ton of building materials at our disposal, I start construction on a shooting range to up our shooting skill as well as giving us extra stamina. More bastard hostiles. Christ's sake, in this playthrough I've taken more lives than cancer. But what makes things difficult is I don't know where they are, just that they're somewhere around Prescott. Even climbing the cell tower on the edge of town doesn't locate the bastards. But I do spot a survivor in need right at a plague cart. So I immediately rush to their aid, thinking this is just an easy way to deal with another heart while someone else deals with the hordes. But how wrong could I have been? Of course the plague cart goes down with no problems as she's distracting the majority of the hordes, but in order to save her at the end I've got to pull a case Caitlyn Jenner. Surprisingly, she survives my rear end, but unfortunately she's contracted blood plague. And feeling somewhat responsible for her fate, I give her the cure and she asks to join the community. Her quirk skill is herbalism, which is really handy as I have plenty of green stuff I need to grow. For medicinal purposes, of course. Once I've dropped her off at base, I take over as Warburton and head back south in the search for the hostiles. Unfortunately, my search was unsuccessful, but we still managed to make good on the daylight and instead focused on the blood plague threat within Prescott. Warburton's incredible immune system makes him an ideal soldier for battling plague hearts. With the first phase completed, I drop a molly for additional damage, although when I go back to melee, I get bit and the crowds threaten to overwhelm me, so I drop a soda can bomb and complete the second phase with one more swing. But all that ruckus has attracted a crackhead, and with my bullets being limited, I'm left with a single option, the hit and run method. Although technically we can't run just yet, as we still have one more phase to do. But hey, at least it's only a few more hits away from death, and I'm even rewarded with a primary weapon as well as some wily peak grenades, which is handy as the next plague heart is in the Big Daddy auto shop just around the corner. And with many heavy hits and a significant amount of fire, Warburton can get the job done. And just adjacent across the road is our next target in an Army and Navy store. But this one's gonna be a bit more tricky due to it being in a tight and narrow cupboard. Unfortunately, I don't get a chance to phase it before the hordes catch up to me, and with no stamina items, I've got a dip, but not before tossing a molly. When I head back in, I complete the phase with the axe, then drop my last wily peak grenade. I then take the opportunity to head back to the previous plague heart to collect its loot, and I'd say it was definitely worth it. So far, the two new primary weapons I've collected use 9mm and 45 caliber rounds, which is perfect as I've got a handgun ammo press facility mod installed to the workshop that can craft both those bullet types as well as 22 caliber. I can then complete the second phase in the Army and Navy store before we get our next negative curveball. And this one is a doozy, taking over the vast majority of the map, including our base. Elevated senses, better eyesight, better hearing, and a better sense of smell. What a terrible day to skip a shower.
Oh, for crying out loud, why are they all in there? Have you got anything better to do with your lives?
Fighting on a swivel, we get the job done, but it's most definitely time to get out of here. The sun is starting to set and pretty soon we won't be able to see much of anything, while everything around us will know exactly where we are. And when I get home, I realise there's a juggernaut dangerously close to my base. And with our resources limited, the best option is to eliminate it with the back of our car. However, I may have been ignoring the fuel gauge.
Yep, I'm screwed. I'm screwed!
Oh yeah, and the feral has also decided to join the fight. I drop one of my flash grenades behind me that should at least slow down the feral, but I'm way too heavy to be in this situation. Climbing on top of a trailer so at least the juggernaut can't get to me while I'm dealing with the regular Zeds. Alright, okay, maybe the fucker could actually get to me. I then throw myself off a rock face as that should at least slow the juggernaut down. However, it almost certainly means we're much closer to that feral we mentioned earlier. But at least we're not fighting both of them at the same time. Sometimes you just gotta look at the bright side of life. With the feral dead, I deposit the food rucksack, as well as save a plague cure by using infection therapy. But now the juggernaut is at our back doors and he's not taking no for an answer. We're gonna have to fight him off with everything we've got. And at that point, my axe is now turned to paper mache. One of my community members then delivers the final blow, but I'm still pretty sure I was a vital cog in that operation. Technically might have been the cog that caused all the problems, but that's still vital at the end of the day. After all that fighting, our last two heavy weapons are damaged, so I scrap everything that's of no use in order to repair them both. Then with the car refueled and repaired, we use Boyd to head to the one area of the map that shouldn't cause us any issues. And surprisingly, we do get it sorted with no problems whatsoever. Of course, that is provided you ignore all the problems we had. And with that, we can head back to base after calling it a successful day. Thank you all so much for watching. If you could like the video and subscribe, that would be amazing. Hope you're all enjoying this series as much as I am.